This is one of the fastest ways to get yourself in serious trouble after a flight, and it starts in the lavatory. Right now, someone inside that lavatory is doing something they were clearly told not to do, and the crew already knows at 35,000 feet. A normal moment. It starts like nothing. A door closes, just another passenger stepping into the lavatory. No one looks twice, no one pays attention, because inside the cabin, everything continues exactly the same. People are watching movies, drinking coffee, talking, sleeping. It feels like any other flight, any other routine moment where nothing stands out. What makes this moment even more striking is that every single passenger on board has already been told not to do this. Before takeoff, and again shortly after, the cabin crew clearly announces that smoking is strictly prohibited. That includes electronic cigarettes. It is part of standard safety procedure, repeated on every flight, on every aircraft, without exception. Every passenger hears it. Every passenger acknowledges it, and yet sometimes someone still decides to ignore it. And behind the scenes, something has already been detected. In aviation, there is one thing that is never ignored, not even for a second: smoke. Because if there is one scenario that can turn a normal flight into a critical situation, it is fire. And the moment smoke is even suspected, everything changes, even if nobody in the cabin realizes it yet. What really matters? Most passengers would assume the problem is the cigarette itself, but that is not what concerns the crew the most. The real danger is where that cigarette ends up. Because if it disappears into a trash bin filled with paper or gets pushed somewhere out of sight, it can quietly start something that spreads faster than anyone expects. That is exactly why the crew does not wait. They move, but not in a way you would notice. From this moment on, two completely different worlds exist inside the same aircraft. In one world, passengers are still deciding between coffee or cola, laughing at movies, or simply waiting to arrive. In the other world, just a few steps away, the crew is already preparing for something that could turn serious very fast. The passenger. The lavatory door opens and the passenger walks out. Calm, normal, blending back into the cabin like nothing happened. But the crew already knows, and now that passenger is no longer just another traveler. Without saying a word, the crew tracks where they go, which seat they return to, who they are, and whether they have shown any unusual behavior before. At the same time, another crew member moves toward the lavatory, not rushing, but very controlled. Because opening that door is no longer routine, it is a risk. Behind the curtain, everything begins to accelerate. Equipment is prepared, smoke hoods are taken out, fire extinguishers are positioned, and fire-resistant gloves are ready. If this turns into fire, there will be no time to prepare later. Everything has to be ready now. Behind the door, the cockpit is informed, not with panic but with precision. There is a possible smoke source, and the situation is being assessed. Inside the cockpit, something shifts quietly. Alternative airports are considered, distances are calculated, and options are prepared. Air traffic control may already be informed before a single passenger realizes anything is wrong. Inside the lavatory, the search begins. Every surface is checked, every compartment opened, every corner inspected. There is only one question that matters now. Where is the source? And until that answer is found, this situation is not under control. This is where things can turn. Because what if the cigarette is still burning? What if it has already been hidden? What if something has already started and no one can see it yet? And this is also the moment where the pressure on the crew becomes very real. Even with training, even with experience, these are not normal moments. You do not know exactly what you are about to find when that door opens. You prepare for the worst, even if you hope for the best. The cabin crew relies on each other completely in these situations. There is no time for doubt. Everyone needs to trust that the others know exactly what to do, because that trust is part of what keeps the situation under control. And while all of this is happening, the cabin still looks calm. That contrast is not accidental. It is part of the job. Escalation. Back in the cabin, that passenger is still sitting there, blending in, but the situation around them is no longer normal. The crew coordinates quietly, deciding how to approach, whether to confront, and whether to escalate. This is also where the captain becomes involved more directly, depending on how the situation develops. A formal warning can be issued by warning the passenger in name of the captain, and that changes everything. The passenger is now officially warned and part of an active situation. Not every passenger reacts calmly. Some deny it, some become defensive, and some become aggressive. And when that happens, the situation can escalate even further because safety always comes first. For the crew, this adds another layer of pressure. They are not only managing a potential fire risk, but also a human situation that can become unpredictable very quickly. The worst case. There is one scenario every crew member is trained for and hopes never happens. Fire. If actual fire is detected, everything changes instantly. There is no hesitation, no discussion, only one rule. Fight fire first. The crew moves immediately, smoke hoods on, fire extinguishers deployed, the space contained as fast as possible. In an aircraft, fire is not just dangerous, it is critical. Every second matters, every action matters, because there is no outside help. Everything depends on what happens right there, inside that aircraft. And in those moments, even for experienced crew, there is a level of tension that cannot be ignored. You are trained for it, you repeat it, you prepare for it, but when it becomes real, it demands everything from you. Focus, coordination, and trust. And while this is happening, just meters away, passengers may still be sitting calmly, completely unaware how close the situation came to becoming something far worse. After landing. Eventually, the source is found, the risk is removed, and the situation is controlled. The flight continues, and from a passenger's perspective, nothing really happened. Just another landing, just another arrival. But that is only what they see. Once the aircraft lands, the real consequences begin. The passenger is identified and reported. When the door opens, authorities are already waiting. Police, security, sometimes both. The passenger is removed, and from that moment, everything changes. This can involve serious fines, official reports, and legal consequences. The crew must file documentation and often a formal complaint. The captain may issue an official notice towards the passenger, and depending on the situation, the passenger may not be allowed to fly with that airline for a significant period of time, and sometimes even longer. All of this because of one decision that lasted less than a minute. And that is what most passengers never understand. It was never about the cigarette. It was about the risk behind it. Because in aviation, nothing is treated as, "it will probably be fine." Everything is treated as, "what if it is not?" While passengers experience a flight as routine and controlled, there is always another layer running at the same time, a layer built on awareness, training, and constant readiness. Welcome to Cabin Confidential, because aviation is not just what happens in the sky, it is everything that happens that you were never told about. Subscribe, because next time, you might start to notice that even in the most secure places on Earth, like airports, it is still possible for someone to disappear.